Hello and welcome to another video. This is one of the alts that I have right now for Knight, and I've been suggested to show off some rotation of Knight. It's one of my favorite classes besides Berserkers. I figure I might as well cover up for two classes at least. Regarding Priest and Archer, I'm not really pro with them or know much about them. However, Knight is somewhere I'm really familiar with and close to, considering that it's similar to Berserker. The only thing that you have to worry about is you have a little bit more skills to interact with in comparison to Berserker. So starting off with the skills, we have the crosscut, which is a sort of default attack that you got at level 1. It's gonna be maxed out. It's a filler ability that you can use to increase or to DPS. Divine Strike is gonna be there every 8 seconds, so you use it as much as possible to deal a high amount of damage. It's roughly 20k with my current gear. Drill Thrust is gonna be the next up, and this is the reason for traveling, or basically having extra mobility skill, but it also deals a lot of damage, and it's on 8-second cooldown as well. I'm a little bit rusty, but it may end up sometimes me not being able to use it in the middle of a run. Due to that, it's because I'm either saving it or I just don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm gonna take more damage. Our main DPS skill is Typhoon Slash. You can only use it twice because it costs 50 spirit, and this is why you go to crosscut afterwards, after you used up all your abilities. Shield Toss is a debuff skill that you use for your party members. This is for raiding, obviously, and it's also for party dungeons that you do right now. You throw a shield, you throw your shield, and it decreases the defense by 6.4%. So that's a lot of defense going down, and obviously it's increasing the DPS of all the other classes, or DPS's class that's in your party. We may look up into the shield wall on the right side with the Bulwark, Warhorn, etc. And this path is literally for endgame purposes, when you do raids or, let's say, hard adventure dungeons for Pyro's Fire Breath or lasers. You can use the shields, the Bulwark and the Defender of Fate, for example, to shield off, so you have 100% uptime. Shield Wall doesn't really use, we don't really use that ability that much, because we don't really need the defense buffs, because Priest can heal it, and they also have some buffs themselves to reduce the defense, reduce the damage and having increased defense. Warhorn might be something to be good to look up into. It's not really necessarily, because it costs quite a lot of spirit, but it does increase your physical and magical attack for your party members for 10 seconds. So I would not recommend currently for level 50 dungeons. Any other fights might think about it, but since I don't have the gear for it, I can only do level 50 dungeons. So level 50 dungeons, I would not recommend any of these skills on the right side. Just go for DPS, because you have unlimited revives anyways. I would still recommend going for Shield Toss for the party to clear things faster, instead of going selfish and spending it on Drill, Thrust and Longsword Mastery. It's better to just increase everyone's DPS in general. On the middle path, there's Shield Booster. It's most likely for PvP, where you can launch enemy up as a CC, and you also have Shield Mastery. So Shield Mastery is a great buff for yourself. Whenever you block, you have 40% chance to increase your damage for 10 seconds. Might be good when you play against you know, a boss that deals a lot of damage to you and you have to block with Iron Shield. But other than that, I don't think we will use Iron Shield at all when we do the fights, because you're gonna take head-on damage and Priest can heal you up, so it's all good. Anyways, I don't have all the skill points, I believe. I haven't really farmed the trophies like I mentioned in my Berserker video. Yeah, I'm still lacking of doing certain stuff to get some extra skill points, and usually it's 6 extra skill points that I could spend on, and that would usually end up being on drill thrust or longsword mastery, for example, for this build. But yeah, it's time to showcase a little bit rotation and such. I know it's been requested in my other video because I was mentioning how to tank. I can't really show how to tank really. The only part where you can tank sort of is when you do Balrog. In Balrog, if someone is, or if your DPS and your healer is going off to kill the minions, you literally have the boss Balrog by yourself, so you're literally tanking, I guess, at that point. Just facing him south, sort of, and keep him away from the party, because he aggroes on whoever that's closest to him at that point. Now, let's go off. We start off with, we dash in with our shield skill, shield charge, which is the shift or dodge skill that we use. You can use it 3 times, and you can also start off with drill thrust, but I would recommend to save it. So what I like to do is I charge in with shield charge, toss a shield, and then I use my divine strike, and then afterwards I use drill thrust, and then I typhoon slash the remaining. So this means I will have my cooldowns off, or off global cooldown skills, going off as early as possible, and then I'll DPS with the remaining abilities that I have. Now, Iron Defense is a class skill that you have on the top right, or top. For Berserker it was Dark Aura 10 stacks, blah blah blah. This one is an active skill you can activate for increased defense by 10%, or reduced damage taken by 10%. But you also get tons of spirit regen back to you. The only downside is that you only have 25% reduced damage, which is really bad if you want to DPS. But I'm going to showcase something. So if you're doing, you know, grinding or whatever, if you want to gather up enemies or doing quests, activate this, walk in, use a Typhoon Slash to gather them up, remove the skill, and then use your abilities after. That means you're going to be able to min-max the SP region, or the total amount of SP that you have, and then you remove it once they gather up to kill them with devastating or divine strike. I call it devastating strike, but it's a pretty good damage skill, as you can see, 20k damage just like that if you remove the Iron Defense. With Iron Defense it does 17k, so you can see the big number there being dropped off if you have it on. But my recommendation is to not use it at all for this dungeon. Just go off, you know, without the Iron Defense. You don't really need to use it. So let's see if we can showcase on the mini ads first, because they have more health to showcase the rotation. Let's just avoid these quickly. Right. Just gonna stun the boss or mini bosses, and then I'm gonna work on the thing. So toss the bomb, he's stunned. First off, shield toss. After divine strike. After that, use a drill thrust. That's roughly 40k damage at the beginning, and then after that you use Typhoon Slash, and then you go back to your crosscut. Might be a little bit too fast with that, but I will showcase again. Obviously you don't have to pick up the bombs over here, but it does help me out. So shield toss, divine strike, and then dash through. Oh, that didn't work. But after that you use 2 Typhoon Slash, crosscut until your divine strike is ready again. When the divine strike is ready again, you use the shield toss again, just to refresh the buff, and then you repeat the same thing. I will leave in the description down below regarding how the rotation looks like. Let's see. Let's do it again. Right. So shield toss, divine strike, drill thrust, spin, spin, crosscut the remaining until you get the divine strike ready. Toss. Alright, let's go to the other side. Toss, divine strike, thrust, spin, spin, and then crosscut. It might vary depending on the fight, but this is literally the way I play my knights. I don't know if there's any other good way to do this, but this is just to showcase how it goes. So for me, it's I have it on page up, and then it's home, and then it's on my V, delete, and then hold down end. So yeah, in terms of skills, shield toss, divine strike, drill thrust, and then Typhoon slash twice, and then just cross cut the remaining part until your divine strike is ready again. And after that, you just redo the whole rotation by just throwing the shield toss and divine strike, etc. If you want to min-max, you don't have to throw the shield. You can time in so that you have only 1 second left of the debuff. Make sure to look at the enemy's bar of debuffs. You can, min-max by continuing using, your crosscut or Typhoon slash, etc. before you reapply the shield toss. But it does take you out of the rhythm of shield toss. But if you're good enough playing as a knight without, following a certain order, then you should be fine and perform even better. But yeah, my recommendation: shield toss, divine strike, drill thrust, Typhoon slash twice, and then cross cut the remaining. So it goes from highest damage, debuff highest damage, to lowest damage, and yeah, that's about it. So thank you very much for watching. This is the rotation guide, I guess, for knights. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. And if there are any more questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. And obviously play as a knight without iron defense, because you don't need iron defense at all for endgame dungeons. And you want to min-max your DPS, so being efficient and also being a good support character. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. We'll see what that is gonna be. I think it's gonna be a thief, if I don't have any other requests. I'm gonna make a thief guide at level 50 when I reach level 50, obviously, with my progress build and with an endgame build that I think it might work out for myself. I'm not sure if it's gonna be the best build, but yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.